Hello and welcome to Church and State with Steve Van Cox. This is a show dedicated to all things Catholicism, all things politics, and everything in between. Today's guest is a courageous young man who goes to Grand Valley State University in West Michigan named Noah Mullins. Noah has almost single-handedly been leading the fight against school administrators, woke school administrators, that is, over a blasphemous art display mocking Our Lady, Blessed Virgin Mary. Noah has kindly agreed to come on today's show to give us an update, including actually some major breaking news, as to where things are at as the new school year kicks off. Noah, thank you so much for being here on Cox News.
Thank you for having me, Stephen. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, so I understand, let's get right to it, that you have some really important breaking news regarding this story. What is it?
Yes, I do have some news on it, and it's unfortunate news. The art installation that did come down on February 5th of this year in the Kirchhoff Center at our university has been redisplayed in a new location on campus. So it has been redisplayed at the provost office in Zumberge Hall. This is where our administration is housed, and it is just across from the Kirchhoff Center, so on the Allendale campus still. And as you'll see here, there is a photo of its current display. This photo was taken in July.
Mm-hmm. So let's give a quick background here because the Grand Valley State, it's not a Catholic institution. But this installation, we covered it. I covered it. You and I spoke about this last year, and it made waves back then. Can you give us some background because it seems that if they're reinstalling it, did they not say previously they're going to take it down and remove it entirely? Is that what happened?
So they did say that they would. They did take it down, and they didn't say they were going to do that. It just came down on February 5th, but they did commit to redisplaying it, unfortunately, and they finally have made good on their promise. But so too will we make good on our promise to continue protesting it. So as a background for the art installation and really what it depicts, as you alluded to, it depicts blasphemy against the Blessed Mother, but there's also a lot of imagery on there that I think we need to call to the forefront and show off. So on the far left panel of the installation, you'll find a lot of imagery regarding homosexuality and the LGBT community. So you'll find if you were able to zoom in further on that panel, which I don't think this photo will do justice for, but the far left panel, there is on her figure two men kissing, bondage attire, a man in drag. So very clearly are they using the figure of Mary to promote this worldly ideology that is clearly against Catholic teaching and most Christian teaching, most Protestant branches and the Orthodox Church as well. This is blasphemous to the Blessed Mother in all of those. So, and then on the middle installation, you find Our Lady of Guadalupe. And a perfect, or rather not a perfect, but a special note to make about this is many in the media and in the community are saying that this is an installation dedicated to Our Lady of Guadalupe, whereas it's actually only the middle panel that depicts Our Lady of Guadalupe. The outside two panels are apparitions of Mary that happened outside of Mexico. So when people are claiming that this is an installation, fully dedicated to calling to mind issues in Mexico, the only apparition on here that has any connection to Mexico is the middle panel, which the middle panel really just describes mental health issues. Certainly don't think it's in right taste, but it's not so much the middle panel and definitely the left panel, but really what is the most egregious part of this installation is the far right panel, which, as you'll see, has an X through Mary's face and a gun pointed at her. And there's a gun pointed at her larger figure, but if you zoom in, there's also a smaller figure of Mary down in the bottom half. And, there's been people in the community who have unfortunately not spoken accurately about this art installation. So we're really trying to call to mind, what this represents and, to do the artist justice in their statement. They say in their statement, and I am summarizing here and paraphrasing certainly, that this whole installation is to call to mind social justice issues in Mexico. But this goes beyond that. The right panel per the artist, is supposed to call to mind the femicide happening in Mexico, violence against women. But I question how you would, promote how you would promote this issue so that we as a collective, community can speak out against this violence by then being violent to the most sinless woman ever to walk the face of the earth. And even people who don't believe she was sinless certainly believe she is one of the holiest people to ever live. So to commit violence, or to, maybe not commit violence, but to show violence on her figure like that, it seems to be counterintuitive.
So the school initially responded last year. Again, you were a rising senior, I believe. Last year, there was outcry. Can you give us some background as to why they took it down in the first place, and what was their initial response to all of that?
Yeah. So it started really to pick up on January 26th, I believe, when State Representative Jamie Thompson tweeted about it on X, and that gained a lot of traction. And along with that came articles from publications like Catholic Vote, like Site News, and then the secular media got involved. Local channels such as WZZM Grand Rapids, MLive, WMMT3 Kalamazoo, if I have that correctly, a Kalamazoo CBS channel, certainly. And so it started with help in Lansing, not just from Representative Jamie Thompson, but from Representative Luke Meerman, who represents the district the Allendale campus falls into. So we had help in Lansing, the state capital of Michigan, media help. And I hear in the background that there were calls made from influential people in the Grand Valley alumni system. And we believe that all that pressure, both from Lansing, the media, and certain high-ranking officials in the Grand Valley alumni world, they put enough pressure on the university to take this installation down.
Yeah, I remember when this happened, and I'm bringing up on the screen here a couple things. This was also a rosary that was held. Many people in West Michigan, over 100 in fact, as well as students on campus, went to Allendale. That's, again, for those who don't know, Allendale is a suburb of Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is the second largest city in Grand Rapids. The Grand Valley has what, 30,000 students? Noah, is that about right?
Yeah, about 25,000 to 30,000, somewhere in that range.
And I think they receive about $100 million in state funding every year. So a lot of people have been outraged over the fact that, okay, $100 million a year from the state. What is the school doing using that money to purchase? In fact, it purchased this so-called art display from the student. And others are saying, well, they would never do this to Muhammad or to a Jewish rabbi. They'd never include imagery like that. Of course, they reserve it for Mary, which shows you this is satanic at its root, right? Because Satan hates the Blessed Mother because she crushes his neck. So here we have, again, the school actually eventually agreed, Noah, to relocating the image after the pressure that you and others put on. What did they actually say? Where were they relocating it to? They took it down, but I think it was Chris Nape, and I'll bring him up in a second, communications official at the school, who said, who gave a response to this and explained it away.
Yeah, so they actually did not even disclose where they would relocate it to. They stated that they needed to find a place where it could have proper context, but they never disclosed the location.
Proper context?
Yeah, I don't know where that would be.
Yeah, maybe. How about the garbage bin? That's good context, I think.
But they never disclosed the location, and I guess they finally decided that the provost office has that proper, I guess, fitting for it. I don't know how it does. What it shows is the highest levels of the administration endorse this. So that's what it shows to me. It's not proper context at all. Yeah.
Here's what Chris Nape said here in a statement. I remember tweeting this last year. We understand that artistic content is often viewed differently by individuals, and therefore are compelled to provide the context necessary to accurately reflect the artist's stated intent of the piece. Well, I don't know. God understands things objectively, right? We are fallen human beings. Of course, we do misunderstand things. But reality is reality, and truth is truth. And this is sacrilegious beyond reality and objective truth. And Chris Nape, again, here's Chris. I want to put him on the screen here and give him his his due attention for having given us that amazing response. And we pray he will recant that, because objectively this is blasphemous and we know it's sinful, to be frank. So let's then, okay, so how has then, I imagine there's been some professors, because liberal professors, they just can't help themselves but mock what's objectively true and beautiful, who've weighed in on this. Any updates there?
Yeah, there have been a few professors who have spoken out against us protesting this, unfortunately. One of them being Professor Heather Moody. She is in the geography department, I believe, but she took one of her classes in the spring semester to see the art installation. Actually, after it had came down, they she took her class to see this art installation in one of our holding facilities for art that just doesn't have a display location, and she assigned her students an assignment on the installation to give their thoughts, to see how the university should proceed with the art installation. And God bless the young gentleman that came forward. In this article, there was a student who felt the Holy Spirit, felt God tell him when he was in that room seeing the installation to leave the room, that it wasn't safe for him to be there. And he left the room and he stayed outside of the room for the entirety of that class duration. And he even felt the Holy Spirit tell him when it was safe to go back. So, that was very surprising and very unfortunate that a professor, one, would take a whole class period out of their regular curriculum to go see this art installation and to do an assignment on it. But, that a student had to, even experience that when they clearly didn't want to. So that's very unfortunate. And so, Professor Moody, as it was described in this article, took her class to see this installation, but it was also more than just Professor Moody. Professor Brett Colley wrote a open letter about the art installation to members of the GV community, and even tagged certain people in the community that, it was kind of, let me just speak to the letter and what he said. And I have quotes in here. So in the letter, he was quoted as saying that the individual who created this art installation was exposed to the the vitriol of self-righteous zealots. So
Okay.
I certainly do not know if he is referring to me. I hope not. But if he's
Worst thing you can be is a zealot. My goodness.
Yeah,
You're so awful.
I guess so. So that shows where some of these professors are at right now.
Yeah.
And also in that same letter, he was described as saying the cacophony of self-righteous voices. So that just shows where some of the professors are at Grand Valley and what they think about this. And that was all in his open letter. But we also did an interview with the Grand Rapids Institute for Information Democracy, which you have on screen. And I think what was disclosed in this interview was quite horrible. And to speak for this moment about the Grand Rapids Institute for Information Democracy, they are very, very far left, almost, and I would describe it almost as socialist press company, I guess you could say, or press group in Grand Rapids.
Propaganda outfit.
Yeah. So in the interview, was quoted saying that there was a gun floating near its feet. So what really struck me with this part of the article is, so a gun floating near its feet. So the word "its." So I don't think even people who don't believe in Mary and believe in the Catholic Church or Christianity, I don't think they describe Mary as it. So I think that's very telling, showing what some of the professors may believe about Mary, that she isn't even really respected enough to be identified as a male or female, as a human, rather it. So unfortunate. But this part also says a gun floating near its feet. What Professor Colley failed to what he failed to mention is that there's a smaller figure of Mary on that same installation, which is quite closely pointed to her head. So not just the feet of the larger figure, but the head of the smaller figure.
Mhm.
And on one of the panels, this interview, it also says that one of these Spanish phrases says, "My son is homosexual. I am proud of him."
Mm.
So saying that Mary is saying that she is proud of homosexuality, regardless of your beliefs on homosexuality, everyone knows what the church teaches on it. It is clear. It is in the catechism. There's no debating it. So for those who are saying that this is a Catholic installation and this is just, calling to mind, or I believe in one release, it was almost quoted as, and I'm paraphrasing this as well, that they're taking a reevaluation of certain Catholic teaching aspects. This is one that can't be reevaluated. So they're just being dishonest in that part of the installation, saying that it's just being dishonest because we know what the church would say about it, what Mary would say about it. It's just clear in the Catholic teaching, and people want to claim that this is a Catholic installation. Okay, well, abide by the church and what they say. It's not even me saying it; it's just what the church says. And then, lastly, on the interview, it was disclosed that open letter I talked about earlier, had 20 co-signers from the
Wow.
department, I believe it was, but 20 co-signers from at least colleagues in some sort at the university. So there are quite a few individuals who are upset with us, with me personally, but you know what? I've had a lot of people upset with me. I will defend the Blessed Mother till my last breath. If it means I have a lot of enemies hating me, wanting me to, I don't even know. It's quite bizarre, Stephen. I'm at a loss for words. It's just I'm at a loss for words because this is a university that is supposed to be and claims to be for higher education, and I believe it very much can be that. But when we see stuff like this happen, we question it. So that's just where we're at, and that's where that's to your original question about professors. Professor Moody taking our class to see this, Professor Colley writing this letter, doing this interview with a very far left organization that is just not committed to the truth, I believe, and that's where we're at. We got a lot of people in the university upset with us.
Well, let's move outside the university. Firstly, how have the students responded, other students, especially Catholic students? But secondly, how has the larger public responded? I imagine they'll probably, be even more shocked that the installation has been reinstalled after the school said, well, we will relocate it last year. Because again, it just seems like they're trying to wait you out until you graduate here. But can you speak to those two reactions, the students and then also the larger public?
Yeah. So there's a lot of students who, like me, are very upset. We have lots of Christian students, not just Catholic, Protestant, and Orthodox, who are upset about this. And we have other students of faith from other religious traditions, just upset that, a religion, a very well-established religion that is known across the world, the most famous in the world, but just one of the, the most known for sure, that it's being attacked this way. Because I feel that, they probably feel that, oh, are we next? Are our religious beliefs going to get attacked next? So students of all religious traditions at this university have expressed, being upset with this installation. But with the larger community, we have a lot of people upset about this. I have informed Representative Meerman's office once again about this art installation, as well as Representative Thompson's office. They are both aware of this and will be working on this issue with me. But we've also informed new legislators. We have Senator Thomas Albert, who serves in the Michigan Senate, who has been informed on this. And we have many other people in the background, both in the political world and in the business donor world, that have been informed about this. And we have a lot of plans coming up, and we're going to involve more people because we see it clearly, Stephen. We see what this is. We see that it is another futile attempt at attacking the Catholic faith, the Christian people of West Michigan. And it's unfortunate. I pray nothing but the best for the artist, for the university officials, and I want to make something very clear. I heard and was disclosed in a few articles that there were a lot of threats directed at the artist, at university officials, and I want to totally disavow all of that. I nor anyone who has been involved directly with me has made those threats. We wish nothing but the best for the university officials. Do we wish for this to be taken down and sold? Yes. And I want to make that point clear. We don't want this even in the university system because there's no place on campus where it has the proper context. But for those outside of Michigan, across the country, we've had people from, across the world, because I've done interviews on a British show as well about this issue. We don't, any of those attacks that are being lobbied at university officials, at the artists, we just disavow them, and we want nothing but safety and prosperity for them. We just want ourselves to be respected.
And I, excuse me to be the skeptic, I think it's very possible some of those threats are maybe even not true. I mean, not to say they're not, but we don't know. And obviously, I totally agree with you. Any sorts of violence or even threats of any kind, totally un-Catholic. No Christian should be doing that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We win with prayer and sacrifice and fasting and responding like this and in full charity, to defend the truth. So then let me ask them, what are your plans for countering this? Again, I do think they're just trying to literally wait you out until you graduate, I think. And again, that's coming up fairly soon, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be graduating in December, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I do wish you the best for this the rest of this school year. But what are your plans going forward? Do you have any for their protests? You can do more rosaries. What might be some things that you can maybe hint at? Because I imagine there's a lot of things you don't want to disclose just yet. Mm-hmm. But what's in the works?
So we started working on this issue quite a while ago. We noticed that this installation was back up almost as the year ended, or a little bit after. So we've been working all summer on this, and I think that's what the university wasn't expecting. They may have believed that they would have students or community members find out about it again once the school year began, but we knew about this a long time ago. So what we have planned is a lot. We have continual evolving support in Lansing, where I am at now. Actually, I'm in the city of Lansing today, and I will be talking with representatives at the Capitol, maybe senators as well if I get the chance. So first, when it comes to Lansing, we're getting evolving support here from many conservative lawmakers who are just incredibly supportive of us and want to protect the voices of Christian students at Grand Valley, and make sure that the university respects us as they are called to respect all students. So we have that. We also are going to be doing some additional interviews with other Catholic publications in the coming days, and hopefully that will also trigger secular media, media located in Grand Rapids is just committed to secular news. Maybe they will then come out of the woodworks and cover this issue once again. We have a few public demonstrations planned, and we are planning to do those as the semester begins. So this is going live as the semester begins, and we have a lot planned, both in the background with media and Lansing, but public demonstrations as well. And I think the only thing else I can say is that I have a full tank of gas in me right now, ready to take this issue until the day I graduate. And as you said, I do graduate in December, but there are students behind me who will take up this issue. So, if anyone from the university is seeing this interview, again, I wish nothing but the best for you, but I want you to know that this issue is deep to us, and it's one that we will protest legally and within the Code of Student Conduct to the full extent. So we will abide by all rules and all laws, but we will protest this as is our right to do so by the Constitution. So we have a lot planned, public demonstrations, Lansing lawmakers, media, and it's going to be a very interesting semester.
Well, no, I think you've definitely inspired a lot of our viewers, and I think they probably want to help in some way if they can, and to just learn more about you and support you in your fight. I think you're the tip of the spear in all this, and obviously you've been in the forefront of this for a long time. What else can you tell them? How can they get involved? Where can we find you on social media? Follow your progress with this battle, which again may drag out. We don't know how long, but it sounds like you are getting to a point where there's going to be some action at the state level, and so much pressure that they're just going to have to give in.
Yeah, certainly. And one thing I actually forgot to add into that is that I will be contacting Republican members of Congress who represent districts in Michigan. So I will be calling Congress officials soon. Do not know where that will lead, but we'll certainly make that attempt. But to answer your question about, where you can find me and help support this mission for Christian students at Grand Valley, and maybe who to contact. So first, with me, you can find me on X at Real Noah Mullins. I will be covering this as it develops, and there you can get in contact with me if you feel that you could support us in some way. And for those who may contact me with hateful messages, you are certainly in your right to do so, but know that it will not deter me nor any other student in this fight. And then with who to contact, I would say certainly contact the president's office at Grand Valley, President Philomena Mantella. Contact her office, contact Nathan Kemmler in the art department. But when you do contact them, first remember that many of the receptionists are student workers who have no involvement in this. So know that you are probably talking to a student. Be respectful of them and courteous. But even if you were talking to President Mantella or Mr. Kemmler directly, of course, all comments being respectful. Any of those threats, we totally disavow those. And then also the communications individual, Chris Knapp, you certainly can contact his office as well. All comments being respectful, of course. But what I really want to hit on that happened in the first attempt at this back in the winter is that we had support from across the country. I talked with lawmakers in Lansing who they got calls from across the country thanking them for being involved in this. And, this might seem like a small issue, but this is a worldwide faith. And that's what a lot of people don't get. This is a universal church, a worldwide faith. So when you attack, when you display this art installation that makes Christian students and community members who support the university through their taxpayer dollars, when it makes them feel attacked, it makes members of the church around the country, around the world feel attacked. As I said, I was on a podcast with a British cleric, and I had in the comments of that video on YouTube, people from Australia and Ireland commenting support for us. So Grand Valley needs to know that they are drawing a lot of criticism just from around the world, around the country. So we have a lot of support behind us. We have a lot of momentum, and we're gonna ride this out. I am totally committed to doing so. I pray nothing but the best for the university officials, but know my mission in this, and it is to protect the Christian students of this university from this horrible criticism and unwelcomed environment that we feel this installation is creating. God be with us. God be with us always.
Amen. Thank you so much for your hard work, Noah, and you're in the crucible of it, and I think it's very admirable what you're doing, and I pray for you and encourage all our viewers today to continue to pray for you and the situation, and that the honor of our Blessed Mother be defended, because there's so many places where it's not, and you are doing that, so you're a bright light for sure. So keep it up, keep the faith, stay strong. Thank you for everything you're doing, and thank you for your time today with us at Church and State on Cox News. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Until next time, God bless you and take care.